approval of the agenda. I believe we had an item under superintendent discussion that we'd like to move to board member discussion at this time too on the agenda.
The WIAA letter.
Yes.
I motion to approve today's agenda with the appropriate amendment.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passed. Okay. At this time, we'll go to student representative reports. It's good to see you here today, Miles.
Mhm.
Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for my late arrival. Is this on?
Nope.
For our student representative report today, Miles and I were discussing over the past 2 weeks of the idea of like board orientation, so that way we can properly introduce ourselves to the public and what our motivations will be for the upcoming following school year. Our idea was to sort of have like an event. I know Miles brought up a barbecue, which sounded like a nice idea. This event will be named Board and Barbecue, but we understand with the current budget situation, if we need to, we can always lay out this idea, but just in case you wanted to share our ideas. I know we wanted to begin with like some sort of fun event. I know Miles mentioned like.
So it would kind of be like All Staff Day where we run through. Hello? There you go. Kind of be like All Staff Day where we run through, like we have some students come in, we have like a mariachi play or something else, and then we have a little bit of talk piece of like what's going on. Then we have like me or Sebastian, maybe students talk about like our experience on the board, well, his experience, my first time. And kind of just go through what the board is, because I think a lot of the confusion or maybe like scare from it is that like, oh, what do they do? Who are they? So it's kind of be like a all-staff board day. Yeah, with a barbecue, we would provide the food, tell them like, you know, come from this time to this time, we'll eat, and then there'll be the performances and then like the questions time after if there's anything that the parents or community needs.
Is this before the school year starts?
The following like
Oh, okay.
25th to 30th?
Yeah, that sounds good. They'll be busy, but we can make it work.
I know that sometimes, so since I've been on the board, when we do something that isn't tied to something else, we really struggle to get people to show up. So I love the idea. What if we tied it to like something that we've done in the past, but also we could expound on it in that like we go to the back to school day for the teachers. What's that called? Teacher.
Yeah, or there's orientation day, there's new teacher day,
Orientation
but
day, new teacher, like that we could go to those events as a board versus having an event just for the board, because we really people don't want to show up for us. So
Yeah.
maybe we can show up for them.
The good idea maybe would be, and we could invite everybody, but when the ninth graders come to the
Yeah,
high school
the
for the first time.
Freshman barbecue.
Tie it to that maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys have time to talk to everybody else, but maybe tie it into something like that. Would be a good idea, and that way, you know, you already have people there. Like Lindsay
Yeah.
says, maybe then they'll show up for us. You know,
On
we'll
the
bring
freshman
piñatas.
day, normally we would do like assembly and kind of stuff to give them an orientation time, but this year we don't. We went to our leadership retreat just now, and we were kind of talking about how we got a little bit of our stuff cut. So more of the day is actually just them in class. So the freshman day is good, but would you guys, the only time would probably be at like lunch, and you guys would have like 30 minutes with them.
So is
max.
there not like an evening where parents go and they're doing, I'm 100
There's
years old, but it
the
used to be a
enrollment
freshman
day.
barbecue where parents and kids went to the high school to look at the lockers.
They do that. I had that in elementary, but I didn't get that in middle or high school, and I don't think we're planning on that.
I know the middle school's doing it. They have a locker night
Okay.
where families go, so we could go to that. I don't know about a freshman.
yeah, so I think what I can do is I can have Mrs. Garza reach out to Miles and Sebastian and meet with you this week. And so I think I get the point from the board, which is can we connect it to another activity and see if we can come up with something before the start of the school year. So I'll have Mrs. Garza reach out to each of you and we'll connect this week.
Yeah.
Great idea, though. I love your enthusiasm.
Same.
Okay. And now we will go on to board member discussion. Aaron, do you have much from the legislative
The only thing I wanted to say for the legislative report is this last, I think about 2 weeks ago, we were able to have a meeting with our state reps, Representative Ibarra and Representative Schmick, with some people from our district, and Director Brunetta and I were there, and it went really, really well. We were there for about an hour. We talked about some of the issues our school is facing, some of the issues schools like us around the state are facing. A lot of it was focused around the financials, some of the stuff we just talked about in our budget meeting. And it was really good. Do you have anything to add to that and how it went?
Yeah, I thought it was an excellent opportunity for us to share the story of the Othello School District and to balance that with what they're hearing from other school districts in our area. I thought they had a listening ear, and they encouraged us at the end to send in our priorities. And I think the discussion we had today with Amy, the processing that you'll do over the next few weeks as we move towards budget approval, that'll really inform the 2 or 3 things that we send to them and say, here are the priorities for us this school year and next school year. And I felt like they really were engaged with what we were sharing.
From the conversation, we expected them to be a little more into what we were looking at, but they seem to have some even bigger issues, and it kind of took me back to sit there and that they just really hadn't really heard everything that the schools were going through, because they had some other issues with financials that, I mean, we see it every day, but we didn't think about it like they do. So it was a interesting conversation for sure.
And that's all for legislative report.
Okay, the next thing on that list is the OEA collective bargaining.
Yeah, just a bit of a technicality. The time that the contract was approved, there were several district contracts included in that consent agenda. Director Pruneda, I've had a conversation with him, should abstain from that vote, and we put him in an inappropriate position by including them all in one. We've had a conversation with OEA and with District Legal Counsel, and we just thought it would be more appropriate to vote on that once again to allow him the opportunity to abstain from voting. So I just wanted to let you know why that was appearing again on the agenda.
Okay. Now the letter to the WIAA. And this is also linked to some questions on the policies that will be up on the required approvals.
Yeah, so policy 3211, which we had a brief discussion on at our last board meeting, certainly has created some noise in the state of Washington, and particularly in Eastern Washington, about some of the guidance coming out from OSPI and from WASDA about what we're required to do as a school district. And I know that you as board members have had conversations about some of your concerns, particularly around the idea of athletic competition. And so this is a draft letter from the Othello School Board to WIAA outlining that concern and giving them some perspective on how that's being viewed locally. And wanted to make sure that the community was able to view that and give board members an opportunity to comment on any particular components around it. But before that's being sent off to WIAA, again, it's just a matter of letting the public know the response from the board.
So where do we go from here, Pete? We need to approve the policy because it is Washington state law with the knowledge that we're sending this letter to WIAA. It might fall on deaf ears, it might not, but that's out of our control, but we're just doing what we can. Is that where we're at with it?
Yeah, so I think the tactic that's been used most consistently in Washington so far was led by the Kennewick School District. They passed a formal resolution on particular components around athletic competition and their concern with that. And so the formality of developing a resolution, going through that process, taking a formal vote is really a pretty significant step, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. It's like passing a resolution to approve a budget. It's the board coming together and making a statement. This approach was a little more nuanced, focused right at the idea of athletic competition, and sent to the folks who manage and think about that work. And so I think the approach from this letter was to say, we understand as board members we're required to follow the laws of the state of Washington. We've done our part to approve that policy and put it in place for our staff and students. But we have some concerns about this piece. We want you to look at it a little more closely. And WIAA, we pay to be a member. We want you to advocate for our position as well. So it's really just communicating the position of the board and advocating in that way. I would say it's a similar strategy to the resolution, just a different technique and a different audience.
Also, I want to let the board know, WIA, Dairy Farmers of Washington, at one point was the main sponsor. We are now, we're a second-tier sponsor, but we're still a predominantly big sponsor. One of the credit unions is the gold sponsor. We're next tier with Les Schwab, have been for many years, but as Dairy Farmers of Washington, as a milk producer, they take out money from our funds. Regardless, we don't have no say in it, but it's also for promotion. It's for advertising. But I have reached out to Dairy Farmers of Washington, and I'm in talk with them. They have a board of directors, and so a lot of them were not aware of everything because most farmers don't have kids in high school anymore, so they're kind of we brought a lot of awareness to them. So they're talking about it, and with us writing a letter, I feel like it's really kind of maybe help get the ball rolling more. So I just I wanted to share that too, stuff. So
Appreciate that, Chris.
yes.
Okay, any more discussion on that?
No.
Okay. If you'd like to, there was a letter that was preliminary.
Yes, the board, we kind of wrote a letter that we just wanted to make public knowledge. This is a statement from the school board. The school board is required by law to implement this policy, 3211, but let us be clear, we do not agree with certain aspects of it, particularly the allowance of boys competing with females in WIA athletic events and activities. While we must comply, we will not shy away from expressing our disagreement. We believe this is an aspect of the policy imposes undue requirements on our teachers and schools. We are committed to actively pushing state elective officials to repeal or amend this legislation. Our priority is to uphold the standards and expectations of our local community. We will tirelessly advocate for changes that reflect our community's values and ensure every student is treated with dignity and respect. Despite these challenges, we will continue to focus on the day-to-day outcomes for our students, blending national politics with our daily operations. We believe in the power of public schools and the right of every child to believe, achieve, and belong, and we will fight to ensure our schools reflect these principles. Just wanted to let the public know where we stand.
Thank you very much for reading that, Chris. With that, we will go on to required approvals. Do I have a motion for the required approvals?
I motion that we approve the required approvals.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. It so carries. And now we will go on to required approvals for accounts payable warrants 2.
I motion to approve the required approvals for accounts payable warrants 2.
I second that motion.
I will abstain.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 4 carried, 1 abstention. Okay. Now we'll go on to required approvals for the OEA collective bargaining agreement.
I'll motion to approve the OEA collective bargaining agreement.
I will second.
I will abstain from that vote.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now we'll go on to the superintendent informational items. Do you have any more?
Yeah, just a couple of quick items here. One is really informational. I'll start with the Hiawatha flooring repair project. As Amy indicated in her budget reports, there are certainly, or budget projections, there are certainly items that come up throughout the year as that relate to facilities that can be quite costly. This is just a real recent example of the kind of work that Greg Foltz leads with our maintenance staff, trying to be proactive and make sure we're good stewards of district finances. But these things do come up from time to time, and why it's important to have cash on hand to take care of these things. So we've had an issue with the flooring over at Hiawatha. They've been in there repairing that and putting it together. So again, it would just seem like a timely example, nothing that requires board approval, but for some of you that are new to the board, wanted you to let you know the kinds of things that, you know, we need resources for. The other one is a draft AI policy. Certainly AI is another hot topic in sort of political and social circles. It's something that our teachers and our administrators have been thinking about and trying to manage, and there's been guidance out recently from OSPI about how school districts should handle this. We've included a draft policy, and we put it in this section because it's part of our district operating policies and not something that typically would require formal board approval, but we wanted you to have an early look at it. Jessica Schenk and Rigo Ozuna have been spending the most time and energy developing this policy. Something, again, this is just the first time for you to have it in front of you. We would encourage you to take a deeper look and to bring your questions, and we'll have an opportunity in future board meetings to share a little more deeply about our perspective on artificial intelligence and how it can enhance the student and staff experience, but also that we should use it with the amount of caution that it deserves, and also make sure that our students aren't left behind by putting out blanket policies that say we're not going to use it anytime, any place. So, new topic. It seems like there's always something in education that's pressing on us to think through, and this one's moving rather rapidly. We wanted to let you know we're working on it and to have a chance to read through it. But just informational at this moment.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go on to policy review. There is 2 policies in there. Get a chance to take a look those over again, see if there's any concerns, questions, or comments on it. We have no public comment at this time. Okay, so we will go on to upcoming events. There will be a special board meeting with a budget hearing, August 22nd. New teacher orientation, August 26th. And that will be here in this boardroom. And then we will also have a regular board meeting going back to 7 p.m. on the 26th. All staff orientation. This one will be building visits.
Yeah, could I share just a comment about that? We have a document here that we asked our building principals. So the event that Miles talked about, all staff orientation, last year was the first year we weren't able to get everyone in the room together. We just have too many employees. So we're going to try an alternate model this year. Each school is running their own event throughout the day. We wanted to check in with board members, and what I'll do is, if you know your schedule now and you're going to plan to attend all of them, Thalia can certainly add your name to the list. But moving forward, I'll have Marisa reach out to you to see which ones you might be available for. But that's the general schedule right now. It would be sort of a 7:30 a.m. to lunch kind of schedule, and if all of you are 3 or more are hoping to be there, we could certainly announce a potential quorum. Or if you wanted to divide and conquer, you're welcome to do that. But we really see it as just a 5 to 15 minute opportunity to show up and welcome back the staff, meet some of the new folks, a chance like Miles and Sebastian described to be in front of, let them know what boards do, and to put a name with the face for all of you. So again, apart from this large group setting where everyone sort of just, you stand and wave, this will be a little more intimate, and we visit every site.
This is the 26th?
This would be on
27th.
the 27th, Tuesday.
Talia, you can go ahead and put my name down on all of them. I'll be making each one of them.
Same.
So we will have to publicize for
Yeah, we'll let them know, and then we'll, how about we just move forward that way? We'll announce a potential quorum, and then, again, we're a couple of weeks away from this, so I'll have Marisa reach out and check in on your schedules with you. But I know they'd love to see you out there.
For the new teacher orientation, do you want us here at 8 a.m. or is there a specific window you would like us to attend that day?
I believe they're serving breakfast that day, so if you'd like to have breakfast, really from about 8 to 10, that's really the sort of the administrative introduce. So I think if you could be there right at the start,
Okay.
we'd probably dismiss you by around 9.
Perfect. I also have had some questions about the first day of school clarity. The 29th, is everyone starting that day? I had some parents at the high school level asking about if that was just for freshmen. Anyway, some clarity.
So all the school levels plus freshmen start on the 29th, except 10th graders to 12th. So 10th to 12th start on August 30th on Friday.
Okay,
And that will be communicated soon.
okay.
Okay. Any more to add to the calendar?
Quick question, actually. On the 26th, in the agenda, the board meeting is listed at 7 p.m., but on our calendars, it's listed at 1 in the afternoon.
We had talked about the summer meetings being at 1 p.m. What do you prefer for that meeting?
1.
1 o'clock?
Would you still want that meeting at 1 o'clock?
Yeah,
On the
the-
26th?
On the 26th? Yeah, sure.
Fine with me, yeah.
How about we just start the new month of September and we can go back to the,
To the summer.
Because that would be the last school board meeting before school year starts,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So that may just be an error in this agenda, so we'll correct that, and we'll plan on 1 p.m. on the 26th, and I'll make sure that the new teacher orientation at that point will be either out of this room, or I imagine by that point they'll be done.
Okay. If there's no more to add to the calendar, then we will go to board self-assessment of the meeting.
Happy to have all board members here today.
yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
Great.
Nice to have Miles and Sebastian back. It's been a minute since they've been here. Well, Miles, and I just want to welcome you to the group.
Great presentation by our admin finance team.
Yes, yeah, great.
A lot of information.
Tons of information and a lot of work put into that, so appreciate all of their hard work.
Not just because he's here, but shout out to Greg and his team for keeping the school up and going for us. It's gonna be a busy end of the month for him and his group too. And then I just wanted to ask you guys, did you guys see how fast those sheds that the kids built at the high school went? Did you guys
Sold?
see that? I mean, they were gone like quickness. So
Yeah.
shout out to that group of kids and everything else.
That was neat.
Just to run like you said. I got one. Here.
Okay, any more for the assessment?
That's about it.
Then at this time, the board will recess into executive session for 45 minutes to discuss the sale or lease of land. No action will be taken following the executive session. We will meet back to Ann's Pete's office in 3 minutes.